Hey guys, welcome to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. It's actually Saturday morning and we're recording a special podcast that we're putting out for you guys just because I wasn't able to record last night. And obviously there was so much news, but basically what I want to do is a highlight show of the confirmation hearings, but I am going to give you some quick headlines. Obviously, we saw that Learjet, I guess it was a Learjet 55, I believe it's called, that crashed in Philadelphia. I mean, such a sad state of affairs. Apparently, you had a pilot and a co-pilot. You had if I'm not mistaken, a pediatrician and a paramedic, and also a patient, a young girl, sadly, and her mother that had just received treatment, life-saving treatment in a hospital in Philadelphia. I believe it's Shriners Hospital, if I recall correctly, in Philadelphia. And they couldn't have been in the sky more than a minute before they literally fell out of the sky. So obviously we don't know why. And there's been a lot of speculation as to why. I've heard some things. Obviously, many people are talking about the reason why the flames were so huge and all this kind of stuff is obviously the jet fuel once it hit the ground on impact, and maybe they had oxygen tanks. All of that is yet to be known, so we'll wait and see and won't speculate. But obviously, the jet fuel is going to make fire just go like crazy. That's what we saw at 9/11 with those buildings, and then another gentleman, I said something that I think makes sense to me, but I have no clue. And he happens to be a pilot, and he said, "Listen, here's what I think happened. It's basically the Kobe Bryant thing. There were low clouds. A Learjet is really fast. You have to. It's really sensitive for people flying. A Learjet. It's a really fast jet." And he thinks the instruments may have given out or weren't working properly, and the guys simply, or the pilot simply didn't know, or pilots, pilot and co-pilot didn't know which way was up. Just like we saw in that Kobe Bryant case, and he mentioned another crash that happened several years back, where the same thing happened, and that makes sense to me, just given how fast it was falling out of the sky. You almost wonder if they were just going the wrong way, had no clue. And then maybe tried to pull back at some point, and the guy said, "Hey, maybe he broke a lever trying to pull too hard." And so who knows? But anyway, a sad event given the fact that we have the plane crash that occurred at the DC Ronald Reagan National Airport there. And they haven't released the name of the third pilot in that particular crash. There's all types of speculation. The family has requested that the name not be released. I don't know what's going on. I know a lot of people are upset with Trump talking about DEI. I'm not upset with him talking about DEI. I know a lot of people wanted that Reagan moment. This was the time to unify Americans and stuff like that. And I get that, and that makes sense. But the bottom line is DEI has impacted and permeated all institutions, all bureaucracies in our federal government, and we have lowered standards. And NTSB and FAA are trying to say that's not so. But we know it's not so. We know that's not true. There's whistleblowers that are coming out and saying, "No, I'm sorry. Yes, they have lowered standards." I think it's called Mountain something legal firm. Literally filed a case just a couple of years ago to over 200 what do you call it? Air traffic controllers, people that were trained for air traffic controlling jobs, specifically did not get their jobs basically because they were white. They had to fill out, and Barack Obama set this in place. They had to fill out this form that didn't ask about qualifications from the onset, but basically, what color are you? What gender are you? Because Barack Obama wanted to diversify these agencies, wanted to implement DEI throughout. Trump came in and changed that. Biden came in and doubled down and returned it to those standards. And now you have a bunch of incompetent people working inside of these bureaucracies. And I don't know if that's what caused the crash, but it needs to be a cover all basis type investigation. And any subpar people, we need to get out of the federal government. I mean, it's as simple as this. It isn't about discrimination. It's about competency. Listen, we're paying their salaries, and we deserve, if we're going to pay taxes to the federal government, we deserve to have competent people that can do their jobs. And let me just say this too. Doge put out a quote. Elon Musk, I'm sorry, put out a post earlier this morning. Did you know that the Treasury Secretary, the Secretary, the Treasurer, had never denied a request for payment? They were told not to deny requests for payments, even if they were terrorists and even if they were fraudulent. So this, our Treasury has been just doling out money to people that don't deserve our money without a question, without denying ever one check. That's insane. So these are just some of the things that have happened this morning. FBI leaders have been told to resign, retire, or quit by Monday. For those of you that did not hear that news, that's something. Trump is, I mean, this guy is on just he is tearing up government. And we have to, a lot of people are like, oh my God, he's a dictator. He's a tyrant. I saw this older dude on this morning on X. Oh my God, I'm so scared. 72 years old. I'm so scared of what's going to happen the next 4 years. And I'm like, why? By cutting the size of government? Oh, what Trump is doing to the DOJ. Guys, it's the executive branch. Trump can do whatever he wants with the DOJ. This nonsense that he has to, in order to fire people, he has to go through court hearings and legal. That is nonsense. Those people work the executive branch, Department of Justice, FBI, whether you like it or not. All of those agencies fall under the leadership of the presidency. It is not a dictatorship if he's getting rid of some people. I mean, it's just insane. Stop listening to CNN, MSNBC, and all of these left-wing organizations. But this guy has signed orders to sweeping school choice executive orders aimed at empowering parents. I mean, this is just last week. Trump's Department of Education ends DEI initiatives. Trump launches anti-Semitism crackdown as he orders deportation of all of those pro-Hamas terrorist students on campuses, college campuses. It's just amazing. Trump's 300 executive actions made his first week the most consequential presidential history. Trump signs 4 new executive orders transforming the military. Trump's the left was calling it Trump's midnight massacre, firing 17 inspectors generals, throws DC status quo into chaos. DOJ fires officials who worked on Jack Smith's team. You're going after, and guys, we know that was an illegitimate case. Jack Smith went after Trump and Mar-a-Lago, raided his property. All the while, they knew this is why Biden pardoned his family going all the way back until 2014. I have the criminal timeline of the Biden crime family. All right, guys. So Jack Smith went after Trump, didn't go after Biden. When Trump could argue via the courts, whether you agree or disagree, he had presidential powers and privilege, whereas Biden did it when he was taking documents, storing them at his house, so Hunter Biden, the crackhead, could get a hold of them. But anyway, this is just some of the stuff that's going on. I wanted to make sure that I mentioned it to you. Obviously, the Learjet is the big news this morning, even as they continue to clean up, and they haven't even recovered all of the bodies in the DC area. But again, FBI leaders are told to resign, retire, or quit by Monday. These are FBI leaders. Oh, and also prosecutors that played a part in prosecuting and rounding up J6 protesters. Well, Carl, that is a dictator. They shouldn't be doing that. This is Trump trying to shape the DOJ in his image. Guys, those trials were corrupt as all get out. These people did not have due process. They literally rounded up grandmothers that were praying inside of the Capitol. They literally rounded up people that walked through the Capitol, walked through it, and walked out. There were a couple hundred people that rioted that particular day. We also know that there were 26 FBI agents on site. What do you think they were there for? This was a straight up gaslighting mission. This was a mission, in my opinion. Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats got the result that they wanted on J6. So I'm sorry that some people fell for it on the right, but they got exactly what they wanted. They wanted theater. They wanted to arrest people. Nancy Pelosi tried to do this before, and it is what it is. I mean, that's. So I am glad anybody that participated in that needs to go bye-bye, because it shows you that these are the people, in my opinion, every single prosecutor that participated in the J6 prosecution, at least for the most part, except for the people that may have actually committed some level of a real crimes or violent crime to some degree. But I'm sorry, once your due process rights are violated, I'm sorry, I'm done with you. But I believe the vast majority of these prosecutors that they're looking to purge from the DOJ, these are people that abused their power and would abuse their power again. So I'm happy to hear that. So again, dozens of prosecutors that were hired by the DOJ to work on J6 cases will be fired and have been fired so far. Also, as of yesterday, there have been memos sent out in some of the bureaucracies, the Department of Transportation, FAA, and DOD, and I can't remember all of the departments, and I'm sure it'll go throughout all of them, frankly, to drop the pronouns. They had to drop them by 5 o'clock. So no more can your government officials representing the United States of America on the world stage say I'm a they, them. Thank you, Trump. That just makes sense. Now, without any further ado, let's get to these videos, some highlights. This, I guess let's start. Oh, Gabe, I wrote them down and now I can't remember. All right, let's start with Kash Patel. We're just going to go through some of these videos real quick. I didn't have as much time to get through them this week, and I just wanted to, in case you missed them, just opine on them real quick. So let's just get it started here. Let's start with cut number 46. This is Kash Patel versus Little Dick Durbin, as Rush Limbaugh would call him back in the day. Let's play that. Roll that. Por favor, Gabe. Cut number 46.
So do you think that America is safer because these 1,600 people have been given an opportunity to come out of serving their sentences and live in our communities again?
Senator, I have not looked at all 1,600 individual cases. I have always advocated for imprisoning those that cause harm to our law enforcement and civilian communities. I also believe America is not safer because President Biden's commutation of a man who murdered 2 FBI agents, Agent Kohler's and Williams' family, deserve better than to have the man that point blank range fired a shotgun into their heads and murdered them released from prison. So it goes both ways.
Leonard Pelletier was in prison for 45 years. He's 80 years old, and he was sentenced to home confinement. So he's not free, as you might have just suggested.
He killed 2 FBI agents.
That's true, he did, and he went to prison for it and should have. My question to you, though, is do you think America is safer because President Trump issued these pardons to 1,600 of these criminal defendants, many of whom violently assaulted our police in the Capitol?
Senator, America will be safe when we don't have 200,000 drug overdoses in 2 years. America will be safe when we don't have 50 homicides in a day.
So you just won't answer the question.
I'm
going to say, I don't think we're safer. Matthew Huddle was sent back to Indiana.
Okay, so let me just offer my opinion. Little Dick Durbin, guys, these people are such a joke. They are grasping for straws. I can't stand Little Dick Durbin. He's such a punk, and he thinks he's smart. But just understand what you just watched. You just watched this senator compare mostly peaceful protesters. Okay, all right. I'll concede with no, I won't concede. But I'll even pretend I'll accept the premise of the left. 200 rioters. All right. So 200 rioters. You had a senator of the United States compare 200 rioters to a guy that literally blew the brains out of 2 FBI agents at point blank range. And think about this. You think America is more safe with these 1,600 rioters that's tried to stop democracy, whatever he said, on the streets? Let me ask you something, Senator Little Dick Durbin. Do you think America is safer with the 1,000 plus criminal illegal aliens that are on our streets as a result of your party's open border policies? You're talking about 1,600 individuals. You guys have let in millions of criminals that are committing crime and violence against men and women across this country, raping women, murdering people, and you're talking about 200 mostly peaceful protesters. You're a joke. All right, let's move on to cut number 48. This is Kash versus Full of Schiff, Adam Full of Schiff, who has no business being in the Senate. Let's roll that one, por favor.
I want you to turn around. There are Capitol Police officers behind you. They're guarding us. Take a look at them right now. Turn around.
I'm looking at you. You're talking to me.
No, look at them. I want you to look at them if you can, if you have the courage to look them in the eye, Mr. Patel, and tell them you're proud of what you did. Tell them you're proud that you raised money off of people that assaulted their colleagues, that pepper sprayed them, that beat them with poles. Tell them you're proud of what you did, Mr. Patel. They're right there. They're guarding you today. Tell them how proud you are.
That's an abject lie, and you know it. I've never, ever accepted violence against law enforcement. I've worked with these men and women, as you know,
you
my entire
glorified
life,
it in song,
and I did not make a single dime out of
it. In
it.
song. Well, let me.
How about you ask them if I have their backs, and let's see about that answer.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Patel. Let me ask you this. If an FBI director promoted a song of people who sprayed pepper spray in the face of an FBI agent, would you say they were fit to be director?
Mr. Schiff?
Yes or no? Would they be fit to be director?
I am fit to be the director of the FBI.
If you were the FBI director and you promoted a song with someone who beat an FBI agent with a pole, would you say you were fit to be FBI director?
Mr. Schiff, I am fit to be FBI director based on my 16 years in government service.
And yet you did all these things, Mr. Patel. You can say, oh, I support law enforcement, I decry violence against law enforcement. You could say all that. It's what you did, Mr. Patel, that matters. It's what you did that matters. Well, let me ask you about something else.
Okay, that's I caught something that I didn't catch before. You notice Kash Patel isn't calling him Senator Schiff. That's because this guy is corrupt. There's some rumors that Biden's pardons may have impacted Adam full of Schiff. I don't know. Unfortunately, we don't know. What we do know is that he's corrupt as all get out. We know that he promulgated the Russia collusion hoax, and he told us, he told them, the American people, he went on interview after interview after interview on left-wing media and told people on The View, ABC News, MSNBC, CNN, all of these different news outlets, these out-of-touch elite news outlets, that he had evidence that Trump had colluded with Russia. Ask yourself this first and foremost: how could Trump collude with Russia when he was a candidate, when you have Barack Obama being the most powerful man of the United States of America? If Trump had really colluded with Russia and Vladimir Putin, do you really believe that a powerful man and the president of the United States, Barack Obama, couldn't have stopped that from happening? I mean, that it just defies common sense. Now, ask yourself this. So Adam Schiff had to admit that basically, I mean, after years of lying about it, basically he had nothing. But these people kept lifting him up. And also, if Adam Schiff had all of this information about Trump colluding with Russia to win the 2016 election, why did we waste tens and tens of millions of dollars to pay for a Robert Mueller investigation if Schiff had all the evidence that we needed? The guy is a stone cold liar. And frankly, he should be in jail. There's no way he should be in the Senate. And I would contend that the only reason that Adam full of Schiff is in the Senate, is because there isn't any voter ID required in California in order to cast votes. Absolutely insane. But Trump has put a contingency plan together when it comes to basically California. They're dropping their Trump-proof. They were trying to Trump-proof California, $50 million to Trump-proof California. Now they need Trump in California, so they don't want to Trump-proof it. They're begging Trump to give them money. California is a joke. The Speaker of the House there, the state legislature there, they're a complete and utter joke. They shouldn't, frankly, until they reverse every single fake green news scam policy, clean up all of their brush. I think Trump got the water flowing from the north. I've got to confirm that. I read another story this morning. But until they do reverse all of the things that have contributed to the wildfires in California that they can do, they shouldn't get a dime. So anyway, that's the fake Schiff. Let's go to clip number 51, please, Gabe. This is the drunk Mazie Hirono of Hawaii. Hawaii, can you guys, I don't even care if you hire a liberal or elect a liberal to be your senator. I mean, but for God's sakes, you got Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, she's liberal, but at least she's smart. And she's going to be our next DNI director, I believe. But Mazie Hirono is a drunk and dumb as all get out, as evidenced by clip number 51. Let's roll it, Gabe.
Hear your answer, yes or no. Did you make money?
I don't have
This
those
is my third and last time I'm going to
disclosures
ask you
in front
that
of me.
question.
You have that information.
So you refuse to answer the question.
You have
I
that.
answered 1,300
Here
pages.
you no answer, and yet you spread dangerous misinformation.
That's Mazie Hirono. I mean, that's her in every. This lady is so dumb. America, in my opinion, with the leadership that we have in Washington, D.C., so many of these people need to be cleared out. I just don't believe that a lot of people take us seriously anymore until Trump came back in, quite frankly. Obviously, we have some strong senators. We have some strong House members, but a lot of them are a joke. I mean, all you have to do is look at what's happening in Florida. You literally have a state legislature in Florida right now. You have the same thing in Washington, but this goes, make sure it's not happening in your state. We've got a agricultural commissioner that was just elected, endorsed by Trump, and you know, oh, I'm for Trump, I'm for Trump, I'm for Trump, and then he conspires with the state legislature to fight back against all of Trump's illegal border policies, new border enforcement policies. Just a bunch of rhinos. And then they're trying to fight against DeSantis because this rhino wants to turn Florida purple again. Wilton Simpson is his name. You listen to this podcast and you live in Florida, make sure this guy doesn't get elected governor. I hope Byron Donalds or somebody conservative runs in a couple of years because I don't want to lose the gains that DeSantis has made here. All right, so Mazie Hirono is worth. Let's go to cut number 52, por favor, Gabe. Kash gets personal about his own experiences.
Senator, this may be one of the scenarios that most uniquely qualifies me to take command at the FBI. Having been the victim of government overreach and a weaponized system of justice and law enforcement, I know what it feels like to have the full weight of the United States government barreling down on you. And as the Biden Inspector General determined, those activities by the FBI and DOJ were wholly improper and not predicated upon law and facts. I will ensure, if confirmed, that no American is subjected to that kind of torment, to that kind of cost, financially and personally. And most importantly, I will make sure that no American is subjected to death threats like I was, and subjected to moving their residences like I was, because of government overreach, because of leaks of information about my personal status. If confirmed as FBI director, Mr. Chairman, you have my commitment that no one in this country will feel that pain.
Senator Durr.
Okay. Now, let me say this, too, because a lot of people will say, well, Kash Patel doesn't have the experience. No, here's the reason why Democrats don't want Kash Patel to become the FBI director. He's going to become the FBI director. I'm fully confident of that. Is because he knows where all the bodies are buried, right? He knows where all the scams are. And frankly, I believe that's why Adam Full of Schiff went after him so hard. The guy that Kash Patel kept calling Mr. Schiff instead of Senator. I really believe that's why Schiff went after him so hard, because Schiff knows that Patel knows all of the scams and lies that he told, and he was concerned about it. Remember, Adam Schiff was one of the ones that was Biden was debating as to whether or not he should pardon before he left office, a preemptive pardon, which is so unconstitutional. It's absolutely insane. I mean, this is just Democrats, because of their corruption, setting precedent everywhere. But he was one of the ones that was being talked about because of his own corruption. Adam Full of Schiff. And California supposedly elects him. I mean, just a sad day. But for those of you that don't think Kash Patel has experience, this guy, for the first 8 years after law school, served as a public defender, first with the Miami-Dade Public Defender's Office. He later and later in the federal Southern District of Florida, represented defendants accused of pretty serious, horrific crimes, basically. His big thing was, listen, due process, cleaning up corruption, due process, but he was a good public defender. He's also been a prosecutor. So this is a guy that can empathize with people to a certain degree, but also a guy that knows how to do his job, because he's been both a public defender, he's been a prosecutor as well, but also, you guys know he used to work under Obama, right? In Obama's Justice Department. Some of you guys may not know that. He joined the Obama Justice Department as a national security prosecutor. I mean, he literally traveled the world with SEAL Team 6 in some cases, figuring out what bad guys and terrorists to kill, prosecute, so on, etc. This guy knows what he's doing. He says, I contributed to the successful prosecutions of terrorists from organizations such as Al-Qaeda, Al-Shabaab, at home and abroad. Also, in 2017, this was a guy that was honored by Assistant Attorney General. He got the Assistant Attorney General's Award from Loretta Lynch. Loretta Lynch. For helping Uganda bring members of Al-Shabaab to justice for the 2010 bombing that killed 76 people, including one American. Loretta Lynch, as you guys might remember, served in the Obama administration as his AG after Eric Holder left. I mean, the guy is qualified. The left knows it, but he's also the one that exposed the FISA abuse that was going on. He says, my time on the House Intelligence Committee revealed how that he was also on the House. He also did a lot of work for the House Intelligence Committee. All right. Working under Devin Nunes. But he says, my time on the House Intelligence Committee revealed how the FBI's immense powers can be abused. He spearheaded the investigation that found the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA, a tool that had previously been used to hunt down terrorists. It was being used against Trump and Trump's campaign people. So he discovered that. He's the one that discovered how Democrats were setting up the Russia collusion hoax against Trump. Kash Patel discovered it. That's why Democrats don't want him in. He can expose all of it. All right, let's move on. Gabbard, cut number 54. Tulsi Gabbard, listen, Tulsi Gabbard is a liberal. She says some things in the past that I disagree with. I believe that all of these people, Trump is his own man. They're going to follow Trump's agenda. But I believe that Tulsi Gabbard, all she'll do is oversee, well, not all, but she'll oversee the intelligence apparatus, make sure that these people are focused and doing their jobs, not going off on rabbit trails, so on, etc. But for the most part, it is going to be Kash Patel and Pam Bundy that are going to be in charge of Pam Bundy, in charge of who's prosecuted, who's not. The FBI will be in charge of law enforcement. So primarily she'll oversee that, make sure things are, copacetic. But mostly you're going to be seeing Pam Bundy and Kash Patel. All right. But nonetheless, I think Tulsi Gabbard will be good because she also was abused by big government. And you don't want to see an intelligence apparatus that is cracking down on the American people. What Kash Patel was talking about in that last video clip that I forgot to mention is, I mean, they went after him. These law enforcement agencies went after him. He was giving evidence of basically becoming a whistleblower of corruption within these systems. And so they went after him, went after his family, threatened to kill him. I mean, just astonishing. Clip number 54, please, Gabe. This is Tulsi Gabbard.
Here are just a few other examples. The American people elected Donald Trump as their president not once, but twice. And yet the FBI and intelligence agencies were politicized by his opponents to undermine his presidency and falsely portray him as a puppet of Putin. Title I of FISA was used illegally to obtain a warrant to spy on Trump campaign advisor Carter Page, using a Clinton campaign-funded false dossier as their so-called evidence. Biden campaign advisor Tony Blinken was the impetus for the 51 former senior intelligence officials' letter dismissing Hunter Biden's laptop as disinformation specifically to help Biden win the election. Former DNI James Clapper lied to this committee in 2013 denying the existence of programs that facilitated the mass collection of millions of Americans' phone and internet records, yet was never held accountable. Under John Brennan's leadership, the CIA abused its power to spy on Congress, to dodge oversight, lied about doing it until he was caught, and yet has never been held responsible. Under Biden, the FBI abused its power for political reasons to try to surveil Catholics who attend traditional Latin Mass, labeling them as quote-unquote radical traditionalist Catholics. Personally, just 24 hours after I criticized Kamala Harris and her nomination, I was placed on a secret domestic terror watch list called Quiet Skies.
Man.
Sadly, there are more examples. The bottom line is this must end.
Okay. That's why they don't want Tulsi Gabbard as the director of national intelligence, and that's exactly why I do. These intelligence agencies should not be turned on American citizens. If an American citizen legitimately becomes a terrorist, flies to, you know what I'm saying, to Afghanistan, Iraq, somewhere in the Middle East, whatever, to get some training from Al Qaeda, that's a different story. If they're ISIS sympathizer or something like that, that's a different story. But turning the intelligence apparatus against United States citizens that are protesting on J6, way too far, way too far. That's why they don't want Tulsi Gabbard in. And quite frankly, I think some Republicans are scared because now they're like, oh, my goodness, we have to deal with these hard truths, right? Truths that we didn't necessarily buy into, truths that we don't necessarily want to talk about because we want to get reelected. And some of our constituents, because we're rhinos or because we're liberals, may not vote for us. Guys, you better stand up. You better do your job and stand up for truth. Honestly, that clip alone makes me want Tulsi Gabbard, and I frankly think she will do a great job as director of national intelligence. Let's play one more clip from Tulsi. This is clip number 50. Will she be Assad's puppet? Let's roll that, por favor.
Before I close, I want to warn the American people who are watching at home. You may hear lies and smears in this hearing that'll challenge my loyalty to and my love for our country.
This lady's a soldier, by the way.
Those who oppose my nomination imply that I am loyal to something or someone other than God, my own conscience, and the Constitution of the United States. Accusing me of being Trump's puppet, Putin's puppet, Assad's puppet, a guru's puppet, Modi's puppet, not recognizing the absurdity of simultaneously being the puppet of 5 different puppet masters. The same tactic was used against President Trump and failed. The American people elected President Trump with a decisive victory and mandate for change. The fact is, what truly unsettles my political opponents is I refuse to be their puppet.
Man, get this chick in. Get this chick in. Man, I honestly, I think she would be excellent. This is a lady called out. I mean, she's a Democrat. She's a liberal, guys. She's a liberal. I don't agree with her on everything. But when it comes to intelligence, for this lady to call out the corruption, put all of them on blast, this is the type of person that you want over the intelligence agency that is going to make sure they stay focused on their mission and not get involved and become political hacks and go after American citizens. Man, powerful stuff. Tulsi Gabbard, good job. I won't play any other riffraff against her because honestly, it was a clown show. It was a clown show. Democrats don't have the votes. So what they're trying to do is scare the liberal rhino Republicans from voting for Tulsi Gabbard. If Tulsi Gabbard at least gets 50, and I hope she does, she gets 50 senators, she's in, and she should be the DNI director. I hope conservatives don't get weak-kneed. Okay, let's move on. We've got, who do we have? RFK Jr. Gabe, I don't even know the numbers of the RFK Jr. clips, so just help me out if you don't mind. Senator Ron Johnson. Okay, clip number 28. I see that one. I think this was good. Video number 28, please.
Bobby, this is an answer to my prayers. We need to get to the answers of this, but even more, we need to heal and unify this divided nation. I'm not necessarily the most optimistic guy because we've got enormous challenges facing this nation. But I thought, wow, here's somebody from the left, somebody I don't agree with on many issues politically, coming together with President Trump and focusing on an area of agreement, something that the American people desperately want. Finding out the answers. What has caused autism? What is causing chronic illness? Ms. Kennedy, I think I've come to know what's in your heart. I think I know the personal and political price you've paid for this decision. I want to say publicly, I thank you for that. I truly appreciate what you're doing here. Can't we come together as a nation and do this? Can we do? Aren't you getting tired of this? I'm getting tired of this. So again, Mr. Kennedy, I need to enter in the record. These are just 11 letters of support signed by 63,000 people, thousands of doctors, from the American Association of American Physicians and Surgeons, Independent Medical Alliance, the North Carolina Physicians and Freedom Group, Governor Jeff Landry from Louisiana. These are Americans, nonpartisan. A lot of these people, I know because I've advocated with you. A lot of them are Democrats. They put their political differences aside. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to enter this in the record.
Without objection.
Okay, just a powerful moment. And let me say this: I'm not the biggest RFK Jr. fan. I would prefer Scott Atlas be in charge of HHS, Dr. Scott Atlas. I think he's phenomenal. I think that he came in during the COVID lockdown era to work with then President Trump. Now again, obviously President Trump reelected, thank God, and he was undermined by Fauci and Deborah Birx. And I think that I think that Fauci and Deborah Birx got in Trump's ear more and kind of pushed Dr. Scott Atlas to the side, just because Deborah Birx and Dr. Fauci were bringing in so much government information. I'm not sure that Trump knew better. But this was a guy in Dr. Scott Atlas that came in and was like, basically, they're lying to you, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I would prefer him. However, I love this Maha movement. And I know that RFK Jr. has a very sordid past, from drug addiction to the way he treated his ex-wife. Multiple affairs, so on, et cetera, guys. I'm not condoning any of that, but I also see the value. I see the value of shaking up the Health and Human Services, bureaucracy, making sure that Americans can eat healthier, have the choice, making sure that we're not succumbing to, like Chinese. We have Chinese meat processors. You guys have heard Brianna Segdal of beefnews.org here before. We should have products that say American meat, Chinese meat, so on, et cetera. We need choice, and we need healthy choices. All right. So why not give people the choice? I'm not, I think Big Pharma, a lot of people want to demonize pharma, and so there are reasons why they should be demonized, but not in every case, guys. You got to go case by case basis. I'll be frank with you. Even when it came to pharmaceuticals during COVID, I hate to say it, but you got a bunch of lying politicians, whether it's Obamacare, talking about how bad America's healthcare system is, making it worse, putting people on more medication, putting, processed foods galore and stuff like that. You have a bunch of corrupt politicians that want to make money off of pharmaceutical companies. Pharmaceutical companies are going to figure out how to make money. It's as simple as that. So you have to make sure that you have moral people in Washington, D.C., that aren't going to feed the beast and Big Pharma, if you will. And I believe that RFK Jr. will do that. He wouldn't have been my first choice, but I would confirm him. All right, who else do we have here, or what else do we have with Elizabeth Warren and RFK Jr., cut number 29.
Financially down the line.
I'll comply with all the ethical guidelines.
That's not the question. You and I, you have said
You're asking me, Senator, you're asking me not to sue vaccine pharmaceutical companies. Yeah, you are. That's exactly what you're doing.
No. Look, no one should be fooled here. As Secretary of HHS, Robert Kennedy will have the power to undercut vaccines and vaccine manufacturing across our country. And for all of his talk about follow the science and his promise that he won't interfere with those of us who want to vaccinate his kids, the bottom line is the same. Kennedy can kill off access to vaccines and make millions of dollars while he does it. Kids might die, but Robert Kennedy can keep cashing in.
Kids might die.
Senator, I support vaccines. I support the childhood schedule.
Okay. Let me share these numbers with you, just so that you know that all you're seeing with RFK Jr. is a complete and utter clown show. It's all political theater. You know who the biggest recipients are in Washington D.C. from Big Pharma, their campaigns? Let me read them off to you. It's weird because they all happen to be Democrats. This is what Doge discovered. All right. This is why they hate Elon Musk too. Here's the biggest recipients of Big Pharma money. Senator Bernie Sanders, for his campaign, 1,953,613. You know, the guy that's against the billionaires and the millionaires. He's the biggest recipient of Big Pharma. Complete fake and fraud. You know, Bernie Sanders, he plays the socialist game. I guess he's consistent with socialists, right? Because they really don't want the people that they're governing to have money, but they get all of the perks. That's how Bernie Sanders is a multimillionaire now, several mansions. How did Bernie Sanders become a socialist? How did he become a multimillionaire? And then he plays the role. I'm the socialist. I'm for the little guy. What a fraud. Raphael Warnock, man, 1.7 million, actually $1,763,000, $425. Elizabeth Warren, $1,222,145. Oh, Elizabeth Warren, little Pocahontas, major recipient, top three. Big Pharma cash. Ron Wyden of Oregon, he questioned RFK Jr.'s integrity. 1.2 million, over 1.2 million, $1,207,873. Michael Bennett in Colorado, $730,106. Catherine Cortez Masto of Nevada, $537,781. Maggie Hassan of New Hampshire, $467,999 to her campaign. Ben Ray Lujan, you guys heard him grilling RFK, didn't you? $375,652 for his campaign from Big Pharma. Sheldon Whitehouse, $351. These are the cheap dates compared to Bernie Sanders and Warnock and Warren and Ron Wyden, right? But Sheldon Whitehouse, $351,361. Maria Cantwell, $338,134. Tina Smith, $226,444. Peter Welch of Vermont. Bernie Sanders is in Vermont. Peter Welch is the junior senator, $176,917. So he's the cheap date. Just a show. These people scold RFK Jr. to his face, pretending like he's corrupt while they're fighting for campaign dollars. They're for the little guy, right? This stuff makes me so mad. It makes me so mad. And you wonder why I hate the left. They just lie to you and then pretend like they're for you. And then Trump is a Nazi. Trump is Hitler. Yet Trump is signing executive orders saying that these little punks that were terrorizing Jewish students all across the nation on college campuses will have to be deported. But he's the Hitler. He's the Nazi. He's the one that we should fear. Oh my God, shut up, people. Let's see. RFK Jr., I guess, has a mic check moment. Did we play this one? Let's roll cut number 30, Gabe.
Should I be so privileged as to be confirmed, we will make sure our tax dollars support healthy foods. We will scrutinize the chemical additives in our food supply. We will remove financial conflicts of interest from our agencies. We will create an honest, unbiased, gold standard science at HHS, accountable to the president, to Congress, and to the American people. We will reverse the chronic disease epidemic and put the nation back on the road to good health. Thank you.
All right. That's it. I'm down with that, aren't you? Guys, I appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. Guys, please don't forget, subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Carl Jackson Show on YouTube. We would certainly appreciate that, or wherever you go to get your podcast. Also find me on all things social media at Carl Jackson Show, X, Instagram, and Facebook. Don't forget about My Pillow right now. For years, again, customers have been asking if My Pillow sells their cross necklaces like the one that Mike Lindell wears every day. They're excited to announce that Mike has partnered with a jeweler right here in the USA to create a beautiful sterling silver My Crosses. So you can save 30% today. All you have to do is use the promo code Carl, C-A-R-L. I don't spell it like the communists. Go to mypillow.com, click on the radio podcast square, or call 800-858-0263. Again, use the promo code Carl. You can choose from the women or men's style. Here's what that entails. The My Cross for women has a more delicate look and is reversible with mother of pearl styled translucent white enamel on one side and onyx styled black enamel on the other. The My Cross for men has a slightly larger cross on the with an onyx styled black enamel and a slightly longer and thicker chain. Again, so this offer is limited, or the time is limited. So order now. Go to mypillow.com. Again, click on the radio podcast square. Give them a call, 800-858-0263, or use the promo code Carl, C-A-R-L. And for those of you that are interested in some of my t-shirts, we have the Don't Grow Weary Doing Good t-shirt. We have the Skin Ain't Sin, because man looks at the outward appearance, God looks at the heart. And I have this one, Love Guns, Hate Tyranny. I am a all in on the Second Amendment. Don't believe the hype that guns are dangerous, criminals are dangerous, and weak politicians are dangerous. More people should be armed. There are 2 million plus good gun defenses every year, and they don't get in the news because you would have to literally report every few seconds the amount of times that someone with a gun defended their life or someone else's life. That includes police officers. All right. So again, Love Guns, Hate Tyranny, carljacksonmerch.itemorder.com. carljacksonmerch.itemorder.com. Until next time, don't grow weary doing good. God bless you.